Hi, my name is Mandarin Kim, and I am an eclectic music fan. Welcome to my new approach to talking about music. A more laid back, what I feel like talking about thing. No planning. And today I want to talk about being eclectic, and not making too many rules about what music should or shouldn't be. I'm a metal fan, but I also love many other types of rock music, and also electronic dance music. Beyond that, I also have various levels of interest in other styles of music. I appreciate pop music when it's sung by females. I have a respect for classical music, a respect for the classic releases of hip-hop artists, an interest in some of the best soul music and reggae music, and a curiosity about pretty much everything else. Jazz, blues, country, folk, world, you name it, and I will at least be interested in exploring it, and even if I find the genre mostly irritating or boring, then I will try and hunt out the gems that invariably do exist in even my least favourite styles of music. Which is why I find it hard to understand why so many people seem to limit themselves to only one or a few closely related genres of music, or why people seem to make so many rules about what music needs to be. I'll return to the subject of rules in a minute. But why do some people limit themselves when it comes to music? When it comes to TV programs or films, most people will watch a variety of different content, even when they have their clear favourites. But although eclecticism in music tastes is increasingly more common, people still feel that they need to have a tribal sense of belonging to a particular kind of music. Even when someone does overwhelmingly like a certain type of music, the purists of that type of music, this is especially true of more underground, edgier styles, will easily hate on people who also have more varied tastes, considering them insincere, posers or fakers. But this isn't fair. Having a genuine, sincere appreciation for one type of music is not somehow negated by also liking something else. That's like saying you can't be a real rugby fan if you also like cricket. It's nonsense. I suppose it's because music is one of the ways that teenagers form their own identities and define themselves against their parents as they grow up into young adults, and they form little cliques with their friends and bond over music tastes, and that's why the music we like can so easily become so tribal. But like all forms of art, music reflects human experiences, and a willingness to explore the experiences and insights of different groups of people is a good quality to have, showing acceptance of others and a willingness to learn. As adults, it is vitally important that we grow out of the childish need to be tribal. Besides, if different music expresses different human feelings and experiences, then you are missing out on large chunks of life by denying yourself access to certain types of music. Doesn't it get boring to only listen to music that is happy, or to music that is angry, or to music that is clever and abstract? Branch out a little. Live. There's so much to experience out there, so much that is interesting or fulfilling, that I think it's a shame when people limit themselves and shut half of it out. People also make lots of rules about what they think music is or should be, and what they will allow themselves to listen to. Obviously, it's normal to have your own tastes. You can be open-minded to exploring classical music, rock, soul and the rest, but just happen to find that you prefer house and trance music. You can be willing to dip your toe into pop, rap, jazz and folk rock, but just find yourself going totally ape for hardcore punk and grindcore. That's fine. But the way people dismiss entire genres of music because it doesn't fit their rules about what music should be is, I think, often ridiculous and unfair. So people will dismiss challenging experimental approaches to sound because they are convinced that all music should have an easily hummable melody. Or people will insist that music has to involve skill at playing musical instruments and dismiss anything made on a computer, or in some cases even the more simplistic forms of rock music. Some people go off music the minute it becomes mainstream and popular because they think it is far more credible to like stuff that is obscure and not many people know about. Some younger people won't listen to anything that was released in the years before they hit their teens, or older people automatically dismiss anything that was made in more recent years. That's too old, that's too young, that's too mainstream, that's too obscure, too dark, too happy, too clever, too simple, too deep, too organic, too manufactured. This is seriously stupid. Great music is timeless. Not listening to older stuff or not listening to newer stuff is just narrow-minded. There was trash and there was genius in all musical eras, and you should never be frightened to discover new music or old music. A hummable melody is only one approach to making music. The impact of a particularly fascinating or infectious rhythm can also be a satisfying part of what music is all about. And sound for sound's sake, experimenting with certain textures or weird noises, can also be a delight to the ears. It's just a different kind of experience, a different kind of pleasure. Music doesn't have to be clever or involve massive amounts of musical skill to be worthwhile. Neither does constructing a piece of music on a computer mean that no skill was involved. It is the impact of the music on your sense and your emotions that is the real point to it. I've heard very, very clever, yes, even impressive music that quite frankly left me cold and didn't move me at all. In the end, it was a bit boring. So what the hell has technical skill got to do with it? And the prejudice so many people have to music made with samples or on computers. Have you forgotten the compositional skill of making a piece of music that moves people? Plus, anyone who has actually tried to construct a piece of music on a computer knows that it is not easy. Different skills for different types of music. And that's the point. It is unfair to judge a type of music by the criteria of a different type of music. Pop music isn't supposed to be deep or clever. It is as much about image and personality as anything, and most of the musical joy is to do with emotional expression. Electronic dance music is not supposed to be about musical skill or melody, but creating a particular impact on the dance floor. And in some forms of electronic music there is a fascination with sound and rhythm themselves. And that's okay. Extreme metal isn't about melody or clean vocals, it's about the emotional, visceral impact of dark, intense music, and the adrenaline thrill that goes with that, kind of like why people watch horror films. Classical music isn't supposed to have a beat you can dance to, etc., etc. Each type of music has its own point, its own role in the wealth of human experience and expression. Each type of music has its own thing that it's trying to do. Judge it on how well it does what it is trying to do, not on whether it lives up to what some other type of music is trying to do. You'll never like everything, and that would be boring. Some types of music are going to speak to you more powerfully than others, because of individual temperament or perhaps cultural significance. And there is good and bad in all genres of music. And individual opinions differ about what is good and what is bad. That's all fine. But don't make up stupid rules about what you'll allow yourself to listen to. Check it all out before you reject it. Explore uncharted territory from time to time. Don't be narrow-minded. Metal's in my blood. It was my tribal music when I was a teenager. It spoke to the darkness in my soul, to my intellectual curiosity about history and religion, to my feelings of being misunderstood and marginalised by the cool kids, the teachers, my parents, and society at large. But I am a complicated person, and I've been down many different roads in my life. My experiences with drugs opened my ears to various forms of electronic dance music. My queerness and transness meant that female-fronted pop music has found a special place in my heart. I learnt early on to respect psychedelic rock, prog rock, gothic rock, and punk rock. My father's record collection introduced me to classical music from my earliest years on this planet. In the end, I cultivated a spirit of curiosity and exploration when it came to music. I opened my mind, my heart, and my ears to soul music, reggae music, rap music, jazz. When people sneer because I like such and such, it mostly falls on deaf ears. I don't care what you think. I'm glad I have explored all the different types of music I have, and I don't regret any of it. So what do you think about what I've talked about in this video? Let me know in the comments below. Like and or subscribe if you want, and thanks for watching.